Hey guys, it's Andrew from Fishy Business in beautiful Columbia, South Carolina. As you might see, we're going to talk about skimmers today. You're probably wondering what a protein skimmer is. There's a lot of different makes, models, and sizes out there. We'll get into the details of that later. But they all essentially do the same thing. It is another form of nutrient export for our saltwater aquariums. They're typically found down in our sump systems, but there are some out there that can go in the tank and hang on the back as well. Now let's go over the basic parts of a protein skimmer. For this demonstration, we're actually going to use the Ultra Reef UKS 200. Even if you may be setting up a different type of skimmer, a lot of these pieces and parts should be quite similar and recognizable. You may notice that bag in the back of our protein skimmer. That is actually keeping the cord for our pump nice and tidy, but normally for install, we would run that out of the bottom of the base of our protein skimmer. If we follow the cord, that is where our pump is, and if you follow it here, you can see that we have our water intake for the pump. You might notice that we have this silicone tubing going up to this. This is our air silencer. This is what allows the air to get pulled down into our water intake before it goes into our needle wheel pump, where it chops up the water and the air before it goes into our bubble diffuser. And back to the bubble diffuser, what's actually happening there is really cool. All the water and all the air that you just put into the system's getting chopped up, and those micro bubbles are coming out nice and even. And what they're doing is when they're rubbing up against each other, they're actually causing static electricity, and they're binding onto proteins. So as they work their way up, the surface tension becomes greater, and they go all the way up here, and they pop and end up in our collection cup, and that's how we're pulling the excess nutrients out of the system. So there are ideal water levels for your skimmers. For this one, it seems to be around that 6 to 8 inches of water level. There are other ways of fine-tuning it. One would be your air silencer, and the other one would be your gate valve. This is allowing how much air is going into the system, and this is what is allowing how much water is coming out of the system. So you can really dial it in. So I've been talking a lot about protein skimmers, but let's actually take a walk and go see one in action. So guys, let's go over some of the pieces that we've already touched on and show you on a working skimmer. You'll notice that the skimmer's sitting about 6 to 7 inches, exactly where we want. Down here we have our intake below the water level, and that's our air silencer right here. And let's dig a little deeper in how we're going to adjust it. The reason we can fine tune and adjust our skimmers so much is because we can utilize them in different ways. There's something called dry skimming, which is going to pull a lot more air and less water, and you're going to get a very dark and muddy skim mate. And then there's something called wet skimming, which it looks like we're doing on this one, which utilizes more water than air, and you'll get just a slightly tinged discolor skim mate. All right, let's try something just for fun. I'm actually going to adjust our gate valve and see if I can make this not run so efficiently so you guys could see what that would look like. So let me just open this up. And it may actually take a second for the levels to adjust in here, but as I open this, you'll notice that my bubbles are now breaking into the bottom of our protein skimmer, into the house. You'll see that now our bubbles are actually breaking all the way down here, and it's not going to be efficient skimming. They're not going to be able to go all the way up here and get collected in our cup. So that would be an example of what not to do. This is not going to skim the way we want it to. But so I don't get in trouble, I actually am going to adjust it back, and I'm just actually closing this gate valve. And you'll see it takes quite a number of turns because these have very small threads, so you can really dial them in. our bubbles are making their way up a little bit. And that's actually kind of the ideal spot. I really like my bubbles coming up just above the collar, just above the collar of the main housing. And as I place that back on, you'll see that the bubbles are working their way into the neck of the collection cup and just breaking right there about halfway. And that's actually pretty close. I might have to watch it and dial it back in just a little bit. So that was a demonstration of how the gate valve works, but let's see what happens if I take away the oxygen. Just slowly close that, and you'll hear that the pump's having a hard time with that, but you'll notice in the base, we no longer have that nice foam. Our water's just raising up in there, and it's about to make a mess. So hopefully this has given you an overview of how to adjust your skimmer, whether you choose to dry skim or wet skim. I have definitely showed you what not to do. So now that we've gone over the pieces and parts and how to adjust our skimmer, we get to the most fun part, cleaning it. So I'm just gonna disassemble and take this collection cup off, nice and easy. A towel so I don't spill, and let's go to the back so we can scrub it. So now that I'm back at my workstation, I'm actually going to start cleaning the collection cup. You'll notice that there's actually a little port here that I could utilize and drain it. If I remove the top, I can get in there, clean that. And on this model, the actually inner circle will actually come out, and I can service that and reach in there a little bit better. So let's get to cleaning. Okay, now that I got it all clean, let's go reassemble our protein skimmer. All right, so now we're back. I'm just going to take our collection cup and place it onto the neck of our skimmer. And now I'm gonna watch it for just a second and make sure that now that I reinstalled it, my level hasn't adjusted any. I'm gonna fine tune just a bit. Let's close it up. We'll give that a little bit of time to adjust, and we'll watch it. Make sure it's going to be working. Okay guys, I hope this video has shown you guys at least what a protein skimmer is and how we utilize it in the hobby. If there's anything that you guys want us to go more in depth in, let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys soon.